This is a toy boat that's completely infested with one of the most peculiar species of termite in the world. Meet the West Indian drywood termite. Among other peculiarities, they have these soldiers that are hunched forward and kind of downward, and they have these big, thick, reinforced heads, but no visible jaws or hardware you would normally see on a termite soldier for fighting and biting predators. So what is this for? Well, let's solve this mystery by first learning a little bit about their biology. So this is a drywood termite, and unlike the subterranean termites who live in the ground, drywood termites live entirely within a piece of wood. So the whole colony is inside of this boat, which includes the king, the queen, workers, and soldiers, and they're all just present here within this boat, living together. So the entire colony is stranded within this single piece of wood. They don't have any water to drink, which is a big problem for termites, for most termites, but these guys have figured out how to be very, very, very good conservators of the water that they do have available to them. Their bodies retain water so well that when it's in abundance, like say if this were to be left out in the rain, then it becomes toxic to them. Water actually kills them because they have no way of regulating it. As a result, you will never find this species out in the open, like say in a dead tree branch or some similar place where other species of drywood termites would thrive. A big way for animals to lose water is through their excretion, through their poo. And these guys have solved this problem by having these special butts, and these butts squeeze every last molecule of water out of that poo before the termite actually excretes it. And when they do excrete it, they have these little hard wood pellets. And these pellets are then thrown out of the colony through what we call kick-out holes. And these are little tiny holes that are the only real entrance or exit from their nest. Otherwise, their nest is completely protected within a piece of wood. Here's a video of just such a kick-out hole. If you notice back there, you can't really make them out, but there are workers on the other side of that little hole. And you can see them throwing their hard pelleted poo outside of that hole to remove it from the colony. Sometimes they struggle to get them out in the right direction. Now this species has been spread far and wide, but you never find it outside of a human structure, so it's almost like they're perfectly adapted to live with humans. In fact, it was only about 20 years ago that we finally discovered where this termite is actually from. And that is, it was found inside of a tree branch in Lima, Peru. And if you've ever been to Lima, Peru, you know that if you're walking around in that city, it feels like you're inside an air-conditioned room. It literally never ever rains. And open air markets in Lima are truly open air markets. Buildings don't have awnings except for maybe some sun shelter. An interesting thing, however, about the Atacama Desert is it's not completely without water. There's actually water in abundance because there's the high Sierra Mountains, there's all the rain that's coming washing down through that. It's right next to the ocean also. So humidity is high actually, but it never ever rains. So starting about 500 years ago, these boats would come and they would dock in Lima, Peru. And as they were docked there, built out of wood, the termites would fly onto these boats and infest them. That's why I love this toy boat so much, because it's literally what happened is these boats became infested with this termite, and then they sailed around the world and dropping this species of termite off every port city that it went to. And as a result, this is a very highly spread termite. And it's considered an invasive species everywhere it is, other than Peru. So now that we know a little bit more about this termite, it's time to revisit those bizarre soldiers that we saw in the beginning and try to figure out what they're doing with that peculiar head of theirs. Well, as I mentioned, the only entrance or exit from their internal galleries are these little kick-out holes. Otherwise, these termites are completely within a piece of wood and almost impossible to get to by predators. And well, these termite soldiers are a plug. They're a block, a cork. They are designed to block those holes and prevent anything from coming into their nest. almost as if they're a mobile door. Sorry about the grainy footage here, but if you pay attention to the hole in the middle of the screen, you will notice that it is, occasionally you'll see a worker walking around beside there. Now pay attention as I hold an ant up to that hole. I want you to watch what happens when I pull it away. And it's not very easy to see. But if you noticed it, a soldier actually stuck its head up there and blocked that hole. And you can see a little bit of its antenna waving back and forth. So this type of structure in nature is called a phragmotic head. And it acts as a blockade. And even if they're under constant attack by, say, ants, and they need a permanently closed off area in their nest, what they'll do is they'll actually send a soldier here. The soldier will anchor himself in place and then die. And then it acts as a permanent blockade. Now, of course, the termites won't waste all the water that's held up in that dead soldier, so they will actually drain it dry and leave behind this just completely dehydrated husk that's blocking a door. Biology isn't always pretty, but yes, the access that they get to the water inside of those soldiers is through its butt. What we don't know. So as I mentioned, this species is pretty widely distributed all around the world in tropical and subtropical areas, with the exception of Asia. And so a great research question would be, why is this species not present in Asia when it's present everywhere else? There is another Cryptotermes species that's closely related, and that is fairly well spread in Asia. But for some reason, this guy's never actually made it there. And now here's some more of these termites throwing their little fecal pellets outside of their nest, and it's set to music. Like and subscribe.